Hello again, this is John from Poor Man's Garage. Well, I got free here. This will be the 22nd video. So, anyways, like I said, you got to pay close attention on what video you're watching and what video comes next, because sometimes you got to search for it on YouTube. They're all there. Like I said, it starts at V8 Miata build 001, next one 002, 003, all the way to this is video 22. Anyways, on my blog, people have been asking me about what's the deal with the Jigs hat. Well, I think I should put a patent in on this hat, don't you think? You know, about the brim, keeps my hair from getting into grease. No, the real reason why I wear the Jigs hat is I might as well tell you guys this. The last time that I had a cam and lifter failure, that's why the motor's all apart, because of the cam and lifter failure. Like I said, I paid right around $1,000 for the lifters and to have a custom grind camshaft the way I have it done. I gave you guys the numbers. Is about $400 now. Anyway, so I called the cam manufacturer after the lifter cam failure. The guys it was a match set. It was the lifters matched the cam set. I bought them off the same manufacturer. Anyways, I called them up and I told them that I had a lifter failure, and I didn't even get a year out of the motor. And as far as I see it, that they're responsible for the whole motor. And that's the way I see it. If I wouldn't have had a lifter failure, my crankshaft wouldn't be scored, my main bearings wouldn't be shot, my rod bearings wouldn't be shot, my pistons wouldn't be shot, my cam wouldn't be shot, my lifters wouldn't be shot, So anyways, what they told me is that they're not responsible for the whole motor, and that they would only replace their equipment. Being if I bought their camshaft, their lifters, they would only replace the camshaft and lifters. And they only give a 90-day warranty on it. And that I'm SOL. So I wasn't happy about that. So I called up Jigs, and that's basically who I bought it from. And I just called up Jigs, and I talked to any tech. I just picked out a tech, and I told them the deal. I told them that that I had a cam and lifter failure, and basically the motor shot because of the lifter failure. And the tech said, "Hold on a minute." And I was on hold maybe for about 3 minutes. The tech got back on the phone, and he says, "Tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna give your money back for the cam and the lifters. $1,400 they're going to give back to me." It was over a year's time. So, and in the past, I've taken stuff back to Jigs that I've had on the shelf for over 2 years, 2.5 years, and I sent it back to Jigs. And not once have they ever said about anything that I've returned to Jigs. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I buy everything I can possibly buy off of Jigs. Sometimes they don't have what I'm looking for, and I don't have a choice about it. So I have to buy it off of the manufacturer that I'm going to get it from. And also Jigs, if you see it cheaper somewhere, and not necessarily does it have to be advertised on their website. You call up Jigs and say, this guy's got it cheaper, and they're even willing to call up, the manufacturer who you're talking about, and talk to them on the phone and see what price that they have, and they match the price. So so that's the deal why I wear the Jigs hat. Is because for me it's a no-brainer. I've never had a problem taking anything back, even after 2.5 years. Never had a problem. And I tried it from the other source, and they said that they're not going to give me my money back. So just for the fun of it, I tried it off the other source, but it didn't work out. So I buy everything through Jigs. So that's why I wear the Jigs hat. Anyways, let's get back to the car. I do want to talk to you about a few things that you're going to need when you're building a V8 Miata, and I'll show you a few things on the motor that I put together. Just a little bit that you didn't get a chance to see. So anyways, let me show you a few things. So this is, I want to talk to you about manuals. All right. This is the manual from Monster Miata, Martin here, and so everything in this book is pretty much everything that, you know, it goes into great detail on everything you got to do. It's a great manual. The only thing about this is that when they talk about the wiring, you want to label every single wire on whatever year Mazda Miata that you're taking apart to convert into the V8, because I think that a 90 Mazda Miata and a 91 and a 92 and a 93, I think the wiring is all different as far as the colors go, because I find that the wiring, the colors that they give for the tack wire wasn't the correct color code for the tack wire. And I also went to V8 Miata, you know, the website, you know, where the guys talk about V8Miata.com. You know, everybody gives tips on what the, you know, if you ask somebody what the wire you know, stripes is, if it's black or if it's white, or if it's white with a gray stripe or gray with a black stripe or pink with a green stripe or you know, anything like that. So, but I think that each year has a different wiring codes, a wiring color code. So make sure that when you take your particular Mazda Miata apart, make sure you label everything as you take it apart. This is a repair manual. I got a C4 transmission. I'll tell you the story about a C4 transmission in a little bit. Anyways, here's a 95. Now this is a 95 M edition Mazda Miata service manual. This is the manual from Mazda themselves. This is a Mazda Miata workshop manual, and it's for it's a 95 M edition Miata, and I think there's, good grief, I don't know, probably 300-400 pages. It gives you great detail on everything you want to know about your Mazda Miata. You have to get one of those too. That's just one of those things that you have to get. So anyways, this is a manual for a C4 transmission. Even though it says on there a Ford C5 technician's manual, it is for a C4 too. Because a C4 and C5 are the same, and it'll even tell you that there, that this is for the C4. So if you're building a C4 transmission, you want to pick up one of these. So anyways, let me explain to you a little bit about C4 transmissions. Back in 1995, I had a 558 cubic inch big block Ford that made over 800 horsepower. Actually, it was 880 horsepower. And I was trying to put a C4 transmission behind it. And this is back in 1995. Not too many people had, you know, 880 cubic inch big block Ford and a Fox body Mustang, but I did. Anyways, I was wanted to put a C4 behind it, and so I bought a C4 off of one of the top manufacturers back then, and I blew it up. And so I bought a C4 off another guy, top guys, top manufacturers. Like, back then I think this is somewhere, around $1,000, maybe more. And that one lasted about 3 weeks, and eventually I broke that one. And so I bought it off another guy, it was top guys in the country. And that one lasted about 5 weeks. And then I started taking them apart myself and figuring out, what was breaking on them, what was going on. And I played around with them for about 10 years. And then I started selling them around the country. I built a Super Street, Super Comp, and a Super Comp with a brake, my own transmissions. And I sold them all over the United States. And I kind of got out of it because it was seasonal. You guys wanted them like crazy during the spring, nothing in the summer, and nothing in the winter. But now I just kind of build them for the local guys. They know who they are. So as far as the C4 transmission, the C4 transmission that is in this Mazda Miata, it's a reverse pattern valve body. It's got a 6-pin planetary on it. It's got a steel forward clutch drum from Cone. It's got Raybestos blue plate clutches, hardened choline steels, 11 different roller bearings in it, and Kevlar bands, and much, much more. My own valve body. Reverse pattern valve body, my own oil pressure, brand new, rebuilt pump. It's got the Teflon stator rings in it, and a lot of other trick stuff that I've learned in building these things. I've been doing it for about 20 years. So after I built the C4 transmission, after I got it done in my 558 cubic inch big block Ford, sorry about that. It's been in my car for 5 years. All right, 5 years, over 880 horsepower. I don't know, I forget what the torque is on it. It's somewhere around 800, I think, like 802 or 806. I don't know. I have to look at the dyno sheet. But it's been in there for 5 years. Never had a problem with it. So as far as C4 transmissions, I should maybe sometime I'll make a video on how to build a C4 transmission, and really make it indestructible. But I'm not going to do it now. But I'm going to show you the transmission. And I'm going to show you the transmission. It doesn't look like nothing, from the outside. I do run cone converter. So it's a cone converter in it. And it's called a reactor flex plate. The flex plate is billet aluminum. And the cone is, the converter is about a $1,500 converter from Cone. It's their top converter. It's the best of the best they make. It's got a billet stator in it, billet aluminum stator in it, and it's as trick gets. Except for the only ones that would be better would be the ones that you take apart, and you can change the internals and put them back together. But they're about $5,000-7,000. I'm not going to pay $5,000 or $7,000 for a torque converter. No, not at all. But that's a better one, but this one's not quite like that. This one is trick as reasonably possible. $1,500 is just quite a bit of money to pay for a converter. I'm also going to show you the transmission fluid that I use, and as far as transmission fluid goes, this stuff is incredible. I mean, when I used to have wear when I take it apart and I'd mic everything up, and I used to have the wear on the C4 transmissions. But this transmission fluid that I'm going to show you, I might as well show it to you now, is just incredible. Last time I took the transmission apart, I didn't have any micable wear in the transmission. I've never seen anything like it. And actually, the guy from Cone turned me on to this transmission fluid. And I'm going to show you the transmission fluid. Incredible. I wouldn't run anything but this stuff in the C4 automatic transmission. Okay, I'm going to go grab it. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back with the transmission fluid. So this is the transmission fluid that you want to use in your C4 transmission. This stuff is just incredible. All right, that's what it looks like. All right. It's transmission fluid, believe it or not. No, maybe it don't say that. Well, it says, yeah, it says heavy duty transmission lubricant with synthetic additives. All right, this is it. This is what you want to run. And a C4 transmission. I don't know about anything else. I only build C4 transmissions. And you know what's incredible is that the transmission, you know, you're talking 1960 technology, and still you're in 2016, and they don't have a 3-speed automatic transmission that's under 80 pounds, you know, that even can come close to that little C4 transmission that was built in the 1960s, which I just find incredible. You'd think they'd have something that was, you know, by now they'd have something, a 6-speed that weighs 50 pounds, but they don't. The 6 speeds, they're 150, 200 pounds. They're huge. So anyways, so I stick to the C4 transmission because I know them real well. And I know when I build them, they don't break. That's why I stick to it. And I'm going to put a paddle shifter on that C4 transmission. Maybe we'll get to that, and I'll show you how to rig up the paddle shifter. The way it hooks into the C4 transmission, and the way it's going to hook into the steering wheel. But that's later down the road. So, anyways, getting back to the motor. So anyways, let me show you what my flex plate looks like, and I'm going to show you the transmission. Okay. This is the flex plate that I was telling you about. That's what it's called. It's called a reactor. And you can, here's the SFI sticker. And you can get this through cone. When you buy a cone converter, the torque converter is made to go with this reactor plate, the way it fits. The way it fits on the converter. Okay? It sits, see the way those ears are? The reactor plate sits, it's specially made for that, for the torque converter, the way it's designed. Because it's made specifically for this torque converter. I guess it's a little easier to put on when it's in the car. Oh, there it is. There it goes. So yeah, it's specifically made for this, for that torque converter. So when you buy if you buy a cone converter, what you're talking $1,500, the reactor plate, I think is probably, I would say anywhere between $4 and $6. Quite a bit of money, but if you see the ring there, if the ring goes bad, you can unbolt the ring and replace the starter ring without replacing the whole flex plate. The ring just unbolts. You put a new ring in there. Anyways, that's the transmission. It doesn't look like much. It's all inside really that counts. You see, this is my dipstick here. This is the dipstick that you want to get. Everything you want to be flexible dipstick. So, you know, it doesn't look like much, but it's got a steel forward clutch drum. It's got a lot of trick parts inside of it. A lot of stuff. I do everything myself. You know, but maybe I'll do a video on how I build my C4 transmission. It's my own valve body too. I make my own valve bodies. So anyways, let's get back to the motor. Okay, so I said this kit is from Monster Miata. So that's what his motor mounts look like. And you see I got front, driver's side, and there's stainless steel spacers in here. And everything that I use is ARP series 300 series stainless steel. So it's ARP 300 series stainless steel. All the bolts on this motor. Everything that you want to do, you want ARP stainless steel, because if you don't use stainless steel on the motor, eventually it's going to rust and it's going to look bad, you know. So here's the passenger side. You see where it says front passenger side. So anyways, that's where we're at. If you notice, the car's gone. Well, the car's gone because it's right outside the door. You can see this or not, but the car's sitting right outside the door because I have a feeling that we might be putting the motor in tonight. It is pretty late, 10:30, but I think we'd be in good shape. So what I got to do is I got to put the flex plate on, which is, you know, the reactor plate, this here, and you know, you don't fool around with this stuff. You use like I said, ARP. You know, those are the everything I use is ARP, and you can see these are very long. It goes very deep into the crankshaft. So you don't fool around with this kind of stuff. You just get the ARP flex plate bolts, and make sure they're as long as you can possibly be. So you got as much depth in the crankshaft as can be, because you don't want anything shearing off, because that would be really bad. I'd probably go right to the car at you. Anyways, and this is an alternator from Power Master. And actually, I think this is let me see, it says Power Master on there. I know it's a Denso. Anyways, this is five ribbed. So if you look this up, they don't make a 5-rib Denso alternator. This is I think it's called an XS from Power Master. They don't make this. I had to machine it down and put it on there, but it fits perfectly. This alternator, believe it or not, I know it's so small. Believe it or not, when I got the tag, I had a little tag on here. It was 220 amp alternator. I think it's only rated for 180. That would end up being 220. So it came with a little tag, and they put it on like a little alternator dyno, and then when they build it for you and then dyno how much power it puts out, they put a little tag in it, and it has how much amps it puts out. This little tiny thing is incredible, 220 amps. So that's plenty enough to power up all my stuff. So when we get into this thing, might want to pay attention, because I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you guys. So anyways, so when you put the V8 in the Mazda Miata, there's several things that you don't want to have on the motor. One, you don't want the oil filter on there, okay? Oil filter be in the way. Now this is with the C4 transmission, okay? And we're going to put it in just like you normally do, the old traditional way. Okay, so you don't want an oil filter on this, and you don't want the starter on the motor. So you don't want the starter. I'm just going to go here. You don't want the starter on here, and you don't want the oil filter on there. So that's, and you obviously don't want the dipstick on there. So, and you don't want the front. You don't want the front pulley on here. You can put the harmonic balancer on, but don't have the front pulley on the motor, because it gets in the way of the radiator rail. Okay. So we're going to put it together. We're going to put it on, put it in the car just like this, except for we're going to hook the transmission to it, and the flex plate will put it all together. Anyways, that's where we're at. So we got the chain on here. I don't have nothing real trick to put it on. I just got a chain here, and I'll make sure that the tail of the transmission's is dipping way down. Anyways, we're gonna put this thing together, and I'm gonna put the motor in the car, and we're gonna do it tonight. All right, so I'm gonna put you on hold for just a few minutes, and then when I get everything together, matter of fact, maybe I'm just gonna put the camera right here and let you guys watch. All right. Let's see if I can do this now. See if I can set it up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. Let's try going over here. Let's see. You guys see what's going on? Let's try going down a little further. You see that? It's over there. All right. You see that all right? See what's happening? Okay. All right. This is it. By the way, this engine stand, made it when I was about 14 years old. Made out of 3/8 wall. It probably weighs 200 pounds, but it ain't never gonna break. No. You see that? Okay, there's a little, I think they call it a mid plate that goes in here. It's a little spacer. Just space out my distance between the flex plate and the torque converter. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm gonna go grab it because it's gotta go on before I put the plate back. See, that's what it looks like. I made it myself. It gives me the proper space between the transmission and torque converter. It holds the torque converter out exactly where I need it, so it doesn't hit. So the torque converter nose doesn't go too far into the transmission and screw up the pump for the transmission. Well, this has got to go on before you put the flex plate on. Okay. So just like that. Put it on backwards. Goes like this. No, I had it on the right way. Like that. Yeah, it's got to go like that. Okay. So then the reactor plate goes on with the ARP flex plate bolts. All right. We're going to put ultra blue on it before I put them in. Well, this has to go. This has to get clocked a certain way. There's a pattern on here that matches the crankshaft, so you got to spin it until all your bolts line up. Figure out where the pattern is. So you just keep spinning it. Spinning it until all the bolts line up. Nope. Not there. Nope. Just keep spinning it. So, nope. Nope. Aha. There it is. So all the holes line up. That's how it goes, just like that. Just like that. And before I go any further, I said this is a brand new crankshaft. I gotta make sure the nose of that torque converter fits into the crankshaft. Almost forgot. We're gonna find out. I really hope it does. I gotta pull the torque converter off of the transmission. Which means there's probably going to be a whole lot of oil inside that transmission torque converter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of nose it over the over my four-wheel cart there. And what I'll do is I'll get a oil pan and put it underneath it. So when I quickly pull out the transmission torque converter to see if it fits on in the nose of the crankshaft, that I won't spill oil all over everything, hopefully. I'm gonna nose it out as far as I can get it. That's right up to the pan, so I can kind of pull this off kind of quick. And then let's see if this fits here. Because this has to fit. It's got to be, it's got to just slide in there, and it can't be loose either. It's got to be a nice snug fit. And it feels like to me that it feels nice. Well, we got lucky there. I guess those guys down at Callie's know what they're doing with when they build crankshafts. So that's good. That means that we can actually put it together. Okay, that's all the stuff you gotta look. So I said the nose of that torque converter, it has to fit inside the crankshaft. I want to show you this if I can. Okay, so that has to fit in there. It's got to just slide. It's got to just slide in this the back of the crankshaft there. It's got to slide in real nice. I mean, you don't want it to be loose. It's got to be kind of a snub fit, but not too snub, you know. And it feels real nice. So they did a good job. So. Anyways, I want to slide the torque converter back inside the transmission. That's another thing too, is when you're doing this, a lot of guys have broken the pump, the ears off the pump, because they think the torque converter is all the way inside the transmission, and it's not. I wonder if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, you can see. So when you're putting this converter in, you got to make sure it's all the way in. So you want to spin it and kind of hold up on it. You'll hear kind of two clips. There's one click. There's one click. You're going to want to hear one more. There it is. You didn't hear a click, but it's all the way in. It's what you got to make sure is that the torque converter is all the way in the transmission. If it isn't, what happens is you don't have the torque converter in all the way, and you think you do. When you put them together, you end up breaking the pump gears off the C4 transmission. So what you want to do is you want to always put the torque converter on the transmission first. Don't have the torque converter mounted to your motor and then try to mate them together. Don't do that. Guarantee you'll break the pump gears every time. So the torque converter has to go onto the transmission first. Always. I gotta make sure it's on. It's in all the way. I know it is, but I just gotta double check. And I'll check with my flashlight. I kind of know how far it's gotta go and what it looks like. And I just want to double check. Yeah, it's in all the way. Yeah, she's in all the way. Okay. So now we can tighten up the flex plate. I'll get this out of the way. I'll tighten up the flex plate. Okay. All right. Once again, this is what I use. Ultra Blue. I used to say 77B back here, but I think this Ultra Blue, maybe they changed it anyways. I don't think they changed the formula, but no longer it says 77B. So this is a brand new tube. So you take you won't have to have the 77B on here because the crankshaft has holes. The holes go all the way through it, and if you don't put 77B on here, it'll leak. Alright, I'll just put a little bit like that, roll it like that. Alright, so that's about what you want. You know, you don't want it to get into your oil system, but you don't want it to leak neither. So that's what I do. And then you just screw them in one at a time. Suppose that takes a 12-point socket. If you look at these, here's the 12 points. I do believe it's 15, 16, 12. No, I think I'm wrong. I think it's three quarter. It's 3/4. Yes, it's a 3/4 12-point. Slide this a little back. I'll put a ratchet on it, make it easier on me. Eventually we're going to torque them down. Okay. Let me just keep keep lubing them up like that. Make sure none's on the end. That one. Yeah. This is all ARP bolts. Make sure none's on the end, because if you have it on the end here, that'll go in your oil system. Anyways, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. I'm gonna well, I don't know. I guess I'll do them real quick here. I'll leave the camera on because I don't want you guys to miss anything. So I'm just gonna do the next two and put them in real quick. Because I know this is it's a lot to watch, you know. So far I got 22 videos out. I never imagined that it'd take me 22 videos to put this motor in the car. It's incredible. But this stuff is, you know, it takes time. All this stuff takes time. Nice. And you know, if you don't have it lined up right, because all the bolts won't go in, you only get 3 of them in, 4 of them in. You get them all in, you got it lined up right.